All right, so good evening, everyone. This is my name is Don Ficken. I'm with the Library Telescope program, and we're here for the very first video of 2026 to talk about the 2026 most fascinating events that you can see with the Library Telescope. And I've got my friend John Goss here with the Astronomical League, and he's going to give us some good tips. And in just a minute here, I'm going to share my screen, and we will get going. I got a few things to share with you before we get started. There you go. Okay, great. So if you're not familiar with the Library Telescope program, we've been around since 2008, and this is a world map. You can actually go to our website and find this map, but you can click on the US or Canada or Europe. You can drill down to the province or state, and we have a list of what we think are the library branches that are carrying the telescope. And so that's exciting to know that we've expanded over this many years. It's not a new concept. It's been quite well proven over time. Our goal is really to empower libraries to put the stars within reach for all. So we really want to make it easy for no matter what your income level, to be able to enjoy the stars and get introduced to science. We became a legal entity in 2024 late. We're actually a 501(c)(3) now. And over this last year and into this year, we've had quite a bit going on. We've been expanding our operations. We have a large group of volunteers and a task force that are helping us to expand this program and just work out the concept even a little bit further. We've expanded our board of directors. We now have 11 board of directors, which is really great from all kinds of disciplines, everybody from astronomy to park systems to retired bankers, things like that. And on the right-hand side, you can see a telescope that it took us about a year to figure this out, but we took a lot of the learnings that we've over the many years of using what's called the Orion Star Blast, Astroblast, and the Zummel, and we took what we've learned from how they hold up and how they're patron friendly, and we helped High Point Scientific build a custom telescope for us, which is really exciting. And that will be shipping here just in a few weeks, so if you can get your order in. It's about 370 shipped, and so that's a really good price. When I was doing this for our group in here in St. Louis, we were basically buying a stock telescope and making changes, and it wasn't that much less price. So this is really a fairly good, exciting price for us. And I think you're going to like this telescope. We've actually looked at the prototype, and we think it's going to be very cool. Anyway, and the last thing that we've got going on is that we are very quickly zooming in, so to speak, on ambassador program training. So in other words, if you want to be an ambassador and you want to be trained on how to become an ambassador, we're going to have training that'll roll out, we think, in April. There'll be multiple modules that you can take, and you could go through these modules are pretty much self-paced. We will have a live kickoff, and it'll teach you a little bit about what we've learned and some of our practices. And I think it'll be really fun. It's a learning management system we've been working on some time here, and I think it's going to be very exciting. And all that's available on our Library Telescope or website. Lots of resources out there. So just keep on track for that. And of course, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll be learning a little bit more about what's coming up the road here. And one of the resources that are on there is a map by actually our own John Goss here. He's, by the way, one of our newest board members here. We're glad to have John. He produces a map every month that's really very nice, and it's available in our resources section. He actually even has a Spanish version of that. So he's got some very cool stuff. And then we do these webinars. We took a little bit of a break during the last part of last year with a lot of stuff going on, but this is our 52nd webinar. And if you've got a topic, maybe a library or observing tips or whatever that you're thinking of, there's probably a video out there of some sort that you can look up. And if you're worried about the durability of the telescope, you can just hear what people have to say about it. And I think it's really a good place to start. So I'm going to basically stop sharing. I'm going to turn this over to John, and he's going to share his screen. And he's told me he's been doing this a couple times this year already. So we've got a practice guy here. He's ready to go. And we're excited about that.
Thank you, Donna. I'll get right on this. Let's see. Good. First of all, I just want to give a thanks to Dawn for having this program and for having me on. This is I think, third year I've been on doing something like this. But let's go ahead and get started on this. 2026. You have a library telescope. What are you going to do with it? Anything interesting, unusual, different coming up? Well, let's take a look at these. I have, I don't know, 8 of them or so, maybe a few more. Talk about the cool things that are coming up. March. Let's look at March. March 3rd, the morning of March 3rd, we will have a total lunar eclipse. This type of telescope is really suited for looking at lunar eclipses. The field of view is fairly wide, so you can fit the whole moon and more in a single field of view with this telescope. Yes, you can see craters and such, which we'll discuss here in a moment, a few more minutes. But you can see the full moon or the complete moon uh, in the eyepiece at once, and you can watch the moon slide into eclipse. Now, this will be on in the morning. What I have written down about 5:30 Central Standard Time, so you'll have to adjust the times for your part of the country. But it ought to be pretty cool to see. One of the things to look for when you see a total lunar eclipse like this one will be how dark and how red will the moon become at mid-eclipse, which will be about 5:30 Central Standard Time. It really varies because a lot of this is refracted light through the Earth's atmosphere. So some of it will make it brighter. Sometimes you'll get a darker version of it. But put that on your calendar because that is a really cool thing to see. Now, what I like to promote this because I think it's the most let's see if I got this right. Oh, yes, the most enchanting celestial scene in 2026. Go outside at 45 minutes to an hour after sunset on April 19th, and what will you see? Well, you look towards the west, you're going to see the thin crescent moon, which is really pretty. And by the way, it looks great in the library telescope. But you'll see it kind of just hanging there above the Pleiades, the delicate Pleiades star cluster, above the brilliant Venus, which will be just above the horizon, and the Hyades cluster with its bright star Aldebaran. So that's something to look at. Even if you don't have a telescope, go outside and look at that. That's pretty neat, I think. You come into May. May 19th, we'll have again the crescent moon situated between Venus and Jupiter, giving a very attractive sky scene. Now, looking at the crescent moon through this telescope on May 19th, you'll see something like this. You will have, of course, a thin crescent, but you'll be able to see some of the larger craters and some of the Maria. You'll be able to see some Earthshine, which is not shown on this picture, but you can zoom in with this telescope. This telescope has a zoom lens, so it's pretty powerful. You get up like 60 magnification when it's fully zoomed. So look on in May for this particular site. Let me see. Now I'm having difficulties trying to get out of this. I am going.
So if you're joining us on Facebook, I was able to go live. I don't know why I had a little clink there, but anyway, we're with John
Great.
Goss
Well,
from the Astronomical League, and he is talking to us about things you can see in 2026. And so he just got started, so you're not missing just too much. And we look forward to your questions at the end of this presentation.
ah,
There you go. Well, that's the way it goes. Yeah,
don't worry, I'll find it.
that's okay. That's fine. So John's been doing this for a couple years for us, and so he's told me it's his third time this year. So he's getting quite practiced on the actual content here.
But
Awesome.
not too much on the technical side of it.
That's okay. We're all there. I've been.
So let's jump from May to June. This will have the most intriguing planetary pairing of the year when brilliant Venus passes bright Jupiter in their northwestern evening sky. This is something I think it's going to be pretty cool. Through the telescope, you'll have Jupiter on one side of the field of view, and then another field of view, Venus will be on the other side. This isn't the best time of year to look at Venus, so I'm going to skip that for the moment, but to go on to Jupiter. Whenever you see Jupiter through a telescope, this is what you're going to end up seeing. You're going to see the round planet and up to four moons, four star-like looking moons next to the planet. Those are its large Galilean moons, which are about the same size as our own Earth's moon. In fact, a couple of them are a little bit larger, and a couple are about the same size. So look for that. Always look at Jupiter. Okay, we already covered one eclipse. That was a total eclipse on March 3rd. We have a deep partial eclipse. It doesn't get quite totality on this one on the evening of August 27th. So the moon slides into eclipse. Watch it do so through the telescope, and you'll be able to see as it slides in, the craters go by and get darker and darker. Then it won't blot out completely, but it'll get a lot darker. And when at mid-eclipse, this will have an interesting thing to notice that the moon will appear to have a bright white cap on top because that's the part that is not eclipsed, which is why this is a partial eclipse. So look for that on August 27th. October 3rd, October 6th, sorry, October 6th, in the morning. For people East Coast, let's say east of St. Louis, sorry, Don, but east of St. Louis, you'll be able to see this. Uh, and in the morning sky, well, any place in the United States, you'll be able to see in the morning sky Jupiter right next to the moon. But if you're east of St. Louis or so, you'll be able to see what we call an occultation. Let's take a look at this. You see where the arrow is up there. Well, kind of keep your eye focused on that. And occultation is when the moon moves in front of a planet or a star, in this case Jupiter, and moves away from it. We'll be able to look at the part moving away when the when the moon moves away from Jupiter. So as the time goes on, you look where that arrow is, you'll be able to see a few things pop out from behind Jupiter. Excuse me, behind the moon. That's Jupiter and up to four bright moons, just like it was before. Okay, go to November 16th. Again, we have a nice planetary pair of Mars and Jupiter fairly close to each other in the sky. We look at that through the telescope, we will see again Jupiter in the lower right-hand corner, the planet with up to four bright moons right next to it, and Mars. Mars really won't be as large as Jupiter, but it'll be brightening and getting better over the next few months after November 16th. But it's still something to look at. Again, let's kind of zoom in a little bit with our zoom eyepiece. Remember, the eyepiece goes from 20 magnification up to 60 approximately, just with a twist of the turn of the barrel. It's pretty cool. September 19th, I want you to put this on your calendar. It's what we call International Observe the Moon Night, sponsored by NASA. Uh, Libraries and other organizations, science museums and such, will be having sessions on this night, which is a Saturday night, inviting the public to come look at the moon. The library telescope's great for that because you'll see the picture of the moon right there. You can see lots and lots and lots and lots of craters. Some other detail with mountains and plains and things of that sort. So it's a great little telescope that does a lot for being such a small little instrument because it's not really all that small. It does a lot. Let's just move along. I mentioned Venus earlier. Wasn't all that much to look at back in June. But when you get to September, it starts showing a thin crescent. It gets thinner and thinner and thinner as the month proceeds. Take a look at Venus in the west. Um, Half hour after sunset, 40 minutes after sunset. You can't miss it. It'll be the brightest thing there. So the telescope will show it something like this. And many people, if they've never seen it before, they'll think, oh my gosh, you got the moon in there. Well, no, that's not the moon. That's a planet Venus. September of 2026 is a good time to look at it. Let's talk about Saturn. I think Saturn might be everybody's favorite planet to look at. Certainly with the public, you get the oh wow experience, like, wow, geez, look at that. You can really see the rings. Uh, it is small, but you can see the rings. And it's small because it's about 1 billion miles away. So that's what a planet looks like from 1 billion miles away. Pretty small, but you can still see the rings. So in fall, let's say mid-September through December or even into January of next year, you'll be able to see some good views of Saturn. Andromeda Galaxy is another thing you can look at. With that sky map that Don was showing at the very beginning of this broadcast, it tells how to find this object, which would be in the fall and winter sky. Tonight, if you wanted to find it, if you wanted to look at it, if you knew how to find it, you could see it. So yeah, it's pretty cool to look at. And there's more to this than you might think. There are two other little galaxies uh, in this frame as well. There's Andromeda Galaxy has two other satellite galaxies, which we call M32 and M110. So you'll be able to see those distant objects as well. This is like 2.6 million light years, by the way, pretty dang far. So this telescope can do it. If you like star clusters, this is a really pretty one. Uh, again, it's shown on the star map that Dawn featured at the beginning. Um, have a look at it, and it's I don't know, several hundred of these little sparkling gems against the black velvet of the sky. Pretty impressive. This telescope can do it. It's not a toy. One of my favorites, one of many amateur astronomers' favorites, is something called the Andromeda Nebula, the Orion Nebula, also called M42, which can be seen tonight. It's stuck right in the center of the constellation Orion, and through the telescope, at 20 power, you can see the nebula, which is a star-forming region, and a bunch of stars. Zoom in to about 60 power, and you can see the nebula larger. But if you look at those stars in the center, right smack in the center, from my point of view, I can see four of them. They're really close together, but these are recently born stars in that nebula, and there are more being formed as we speak. So this telescope can show that easily. Pretty cool stuff. Well, there you have it, really. There are many other things to look at, but what 2026, it's a year that pretty much has it all. We have eclipses, two lunar eclipses, which are going to be pretty cool to look at. Planetary pairings with Jupiter and Venus and Mars and Jupiter and so on. The moon, well, I couldn't show everything with the moon tonight because the moon, it changes every month all the time. It's pretty cool to see because you can certainly see craters. You can certainly see mountains. This little telescope can pull that in. Planetary occultations, well, I mentioned the moon covering up Jupiter. That's an occultation. It gives some impressive views of the sky. All these fascinating sky scenes, as we were just saying, with the various planets, Saturn and Venus and Jupiter, uh, Andromeda Galaxy, the Orion Nebula, the double cluster. There are other clusters of stars, the Pleiades, which I didn't even get into. Really cool stuff. This telescope can see it. This telescope can do it. So all you really need to do is find out if your library has one. Go down, check it out, take it home, set it up. Finding stuff's pretty easy to do with this. It has a nice finder, it has a nice wide field of view. Uh, get the kids, get the neighbors over to look through this, and you'll have a great time. Then the next day, take it back to the library, and if you really like astronomy, check it out again, or join a local astronomy club and learn more about this fascinating hobby. So we've got all this coming up, and it's made so much better with the library telescope. So on that, Dawn, I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions or probably comments. I probably forgot something you all know about, but anyway, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, I think to me, as much as, and I haven't been in the astronomy world as long as you guys have, but you never get tired of looking at some of this stuff. I mean, Saturn, they change constantly. Jupiter changes constantly. The sky changes constantly. Things move. You think everything's up there stuck in the same place all the time, but it moves all the time and it goes by seasons. So what you love to see tonight won't be there 6 months from now. And it was a big surprise to me when I first started, right? And I know a lot of people don't really like to look at the moon. The experienced astronomers say that's just getting in my way. It's too much light. But it is really a fascinating. Even over the course of an evening, the moon will change a little bit, right? In other words, the shadows change ever so slightly, right? Now, you've been around telescopes for a while, right, John? I would think so, right? So, how would you rate like a 4.5 inch telescope compared to, well, what a lot of people actually buy? They'll buy what, tinier telescopes? This aperture is not the
Well,
smallest, really. I mean, it's not the biggest, certainly, but it's certainly respectable, right?
it is respectable. I think this aperture is perfectly suited for this type of observing. I mean,
Yes.
it is small enough that you can pick the whole thing up really with one arm. You should use two, but you could do it with one arm. And it is powerful enough that you can see some of these sites, or these sites that I was just talking about. You can see craters on the moon, the rings of Saturn, and so on. So I think if you get into the hobby, you'll want something bigger, which is a problem in a way because now you're hooked on it and you always want something bigger and bigger and you can see more and more. But this size of telescope, you can see a heck of a lot in the sky. You know, it works out really. The kids will love it. It's easy enough to use, easy enough to point that you kind of turn it over your kids and have them mess with it. And they'll see
It's
some interesting things in the sky through serendipity. Just pointing it, and you'll see lots and lots and lots of stars. Pretty cool.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is that it's actually almost sometimes too powerful because you would like to see maybe Pleiades in its entirety, and it's going to be kind of hard to do that with a telescope that magnifies this much. So this is really like a magnifying device, right? So if you really want to see something like Pleiades really respectable, binoculars is really good, but this will magnify quite a bit, and it's going to be hard to really distinguish that it's really a complete Pleiades but those stars will sparkle pretty well too, though, right? I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
quite remarkable when you get a good, decent night, which sometimes doesn't happen, particularly where I live, right? I mean, especially if you get a telescope and you check it out, that's when it's going to get cloudy, probably, right? That's the way it
Yeah,
works.
that does happen. So a lot of libraries have you check it out for 10 days or 2 weeks, something like that. You're bound to get a clear night in there sometime. But you're right, that is a real problem. Objects like the Pleiades, which is a star cluster in the fall and winter sky, it's large. You can see it easily with the unaided eye. Looks great through binoculars. But with this telescope at its lowest power, 20 magnification, it has a wide, wide field of view. You can put four full moons across that eyepiece at 20 power. So the Pleiades just fits in there. And you're right, it sparkles and sparkles. You see six, seven, eight, nine stars. No, you're going to see like 50 stars right there, all sparkling. It looks pretty interesting. It captures the imagination.
And what fascinates me is that when you put something like the moon in there and you actually magnify it a little bit, the moon will move fairly quickly across the eyepiece. You think,
Mhm.
well, that's surprising. Like I thought I just had it in there, but you
Mhm.
walk off and you come back and it's gone. And that's
Yeah,
because, of course, the Earth turns, right? So
sure.
let me ask this, John. So you can certainly use a telescope in the summer,
Mhm.
and you can use it in the winter, right? I would say a lot of the folks that I talk to say the winter is actually a pretty good time to look at it through a telescope because of just the skies are a little clearer. I know where I live, there's a lot of humidity in the summer, particularly. What's your feeling on that? You've got some more experience than I have on this, right?
A
It's
lot of
all
it
good,
depends.
right?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of it depends on where you live in the country. My experience is that I think the best month would be October.
Really, yeah.
But simply because the air is, you got rid of that summer humidity. You have a lot of clear nights. Um, the seeing is pretty good, and the sun doesn't set so late. Now, if
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
in the middle of June, from where I live, the middle of June, it's 8:45 before that sun goes down. So really, you're going to be up pretty late. Tonight, if I went out, I could have gone out at 7 o'clock, but
Right.
I'd have to bundle up pretty good. Uh,
Yeah, that's right.
but
That's right.
those,
That's right.
those rare summer nights, though, which you do get a nice crystal clear view. It doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, don't miss it. Get that telescope out. Get
Oh,
that telescope
that's
out there.
some that
Seeing.
summer viewing could be just amazing. But then it's like everything else. There's a season for everything, right? In the sky, and so you can't miss a season. If you do, you're going to miss something pretty big, right? And it's all got something special at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's when I was talking about April 19th, the most enchanting celestial scene of the year.
Mhm.
I mean, what a great way to end your day. You just April 19th, the weather probably won't be too cold. Just go out for 20 minutes. You got your telescope, you can see a few of these things. What a great way to end your day. Very peaceful. You get to see what's up there. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably wrap up here, but I think what I really love about this telescope is that I've got several telescopes, and they're all amazing at the end of the day, right? But sometimes it takes a little while to set one up. I mean, to get it properly set up, and literally this telescope, the way it works, if you check it
Mhm.
out, you could take it out on a tabletop, like a picnic table or just a chair or something like that, and you could be looking at something in 3 or 4 minutes, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I usually tell people 5 minutes, but as you just said, 3 minutes. It'll do it. Just pick it up with two hands, but you can do it with one, but use two. Put it on the table, take off the lens cap, take off the dust cover. You're ready to go. So
Yeah, and what I really like about it, because we do a lot of programs here in the St. Louis area where I live, you can get a little 5-year-old, and if you put it down on a chair and you just turn the tube to where they can get right in, they can walk right up to the eyepiece. You can look and they can see the moon, and you can see that they're seeing the moon because the moon
yeah,
is lighting
yeah,
up the face.
yeah,
How many telescopes can you really for sure do that? And especially at that level, just bring it right down to the 4 or 5-year-old.
yeah.
And of course, parents love that and grandparents love that. So it's really just, I think, really a treat to see that. And what an introduction to science, really, for them, right? So,
I think that's a good angle you just mentioned is something that grandparents can share with their grandchildren. It's a small telescope. For a kid, it's not intimidating. Instead of having this thing that's 6 feet tall or whatever, you got this one that's more their size, and they can actually move it around, point it up and down, shove it left or right, zoom in to the object or zoom out.
mhm.
It gives them hands-on experience, and I think it'll enrich their lives.
And it's made to be touched. That's right. So, I mean, it's actually got everything tethered and bolted on to where, we
Yeah,
want children to touch it. And so
but
that's
remember the
huge.
number one rule is never drop it.
Yeah, never drop it, right? Yeah. That's happened a couple of times, but we repaired them all so far. So we've been pretty good about that. Well, John, thanks for your time tonight. We'll see if we got this posted out to Facebook. If not, I've got a recording of it and I'll put it out there. And I think you always do a great job. And I do appreciate Library Telescope, appreciates you taking the time to go through this with us. It's a really good year to set up. There's always something fun going on every year, and this telescope has got a lot of really great things. So if you're near a public library, find out, folks, if they've got one, and if not, ask them to get one. They can buy them now from High Point Scientific. They used to have to be modified by astronomers, and we had to spend some time doing this, but you can buy one ready to go. You can literally have your library put a barcode on it, and you can be checking out pretty quickly if you get there in stock there. So, okay, so have a great evening. And once again, John, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.